How y'all doing? Come to my shit. About to work. Yes, ma'am, we already. How y'all doing? Okay. Hey there. Oh, shit, let me turn the Discord off. Okay. How y'all doing? Greetings. I'm good. Welcome to, I named this shit Night at the Bar. And today my special guest is, he changed his fucking name on me. His name was Philosphemy. He changed it to Philosphemy, but nevertheless, I got a guest on waiting on us. Let housekeeping before I start. I got any announcements I want to tell you, motherfuckers? Nope, nothing really. Okay, let's do this. Y'all know who the fuck I am, but I had this rank. You watch my shit. We growing. We on the road to 1K, so that's good. I'm about to bring my boy in. Hold on. I'm excited. Hello, Philosopher. Philosophy.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, my name on Discord is still Philosphemy. It just asked me to put in the name. I didn't realize I was supposed to put my Discord name in.
It's because you fucking up my shit. I put Philosophy at the title. But how are you doing, man?
What's up, bro? My name's Emery, actually.
Emery.
Yeah.
Emery, man. I like your gangster name, Philosophy.
Yeah, fuck that government name.
So, how are you doing? You doing good, man?
Yeah, I'm chilling. I mean, I got a little anxiety, but that's just straight.
Yeah. For those of you who do not know, Philosophy is from TikTok. So if you do not have TikTok, you should get TikTok because we both are on there and we both posting some funny good shit.
Yeah, if
I
you're
like
not
his video. He like, what'd you say?
people that are like, "Yo, I'm gonna get on TikTok," you're like, "Yo, that's the way that society's moving. If you're not moving with society,
Right.
you're just trying to stay in the past. Like, get the fuck out of here, Karen."
Like, if you don't have TikTok, what are you doing?
Yeah, share ideas, be creative.
Come
Don't be a
on,
big
man.
dick.
Come on, man. You heard it from Philosophy. So you gotta get on TikTok. We both on there. He like my videos. I like his video. We both. So you gotta get on there too. But okay. So my first question. Yeah, I'm gonna read from the Quran, but probably not tonight, unless Philosophy. My first question for you, Mr. Emery. Okay, so are you Christian, Buddhist, atheist, Muslim? What are you?
Effectively, I probably would say that I'm agnostic,
Mm,
or
okay.
that's probably, but that indicates some level of not knowing. I think I know.
Mm. I think we had this conversation in the Discord. So you said you are agnostic.
Yeah, like without a belief in the known religions, at least. I mean,
I
a
see. So
Gnostic. I didn't know what a Gnostic was until recently, so it kind of changed my
you just saying
understanding.
like you don't really know if a God exists. That's what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying that I know that whatever idea we have of God is completely ridiculous and absolute bullshit, and but it's a big universe, and I only
Mm.
understand things on this planet. So.
Right. Well, okay. I see what you're saying. So okay. Are you convinced a God? I'm trying to word it.
Just
I'm
saying.
trying to. I'm trying to word it different. Are you convinced that a God exists though?
No, I'm convinced that a God does not exist.
Does not exist. Okay, so you kind of like me. I call myself when people ask me what am I, I'm like I am an agnostic atheist. That's what I say. I
Wait,
know the word. I'm
say
sorry.
that
What you
again.
say?
Say it
I said
again.
when people ask me what am I tell them I'm an agnostic atheist. That's what
Oh,
I say.
what does that mean?
Because I made a video on this, but I
Like,
use agnostic as like an adjective or like a descriptor of what kind of theist or
yeah,
atheist I am.
medium rare.
Yeah. Cause see, in my book, you can I feel like either you're an atheist or a theist. In my book, I feel like agnostic is kind of like a different question. And I didn't ask you. Maybe that's why I said I should have worded the question different.
Well, spirituality is a thing too.
Yeah. All right. Well, see.
You're only taking into account that there's only two possibilities.
Because when it comes to God, either you are convinced of the God or you're not. That's why I asked like, what are you? But I should have asked you, do you believe in a
I'm a
God?
logical person. I'll leave it at that.
Mm, agnostic. I'm gonna just say this. I'm gonna say you are agnostic, and if you do not,
Yeah.
if you're not convinced of the God, if you don't believe in the God, then
Well, I think that nothing supernatural is going on, but the possibility of creative or intelligent design is not limited to a supernatural. I mean, that could just completely
mm,
be a more evolved species.
because I mean, do you think like nature is intelligent? I mean, nature. What do you
It
think about
operates off of mathematical certainties.
that? Okay, my next question: How do you feel about religion? I mean, Christianity, Islam. How do you feel about the books and what they're doing, what they're saying?
If that's what you need to be a good person, then use it. But as soon as you start to fucking be a bad person, fuck you.
Hmm. You said if that's what you need to be a good person, use it, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird that you say that because, like, I think I read this quote somewhere. I don't know if I'm quoting right, but they were like, you know, with or without religion, good people will be good, and bad people will do bad or be bad. And it was like, but for a good person to do bad, that takes religion. So when you say if you needed to be good, I'm like, if they following a religion and they're good, in my opinion, they following it wrong. What do you think about that?
Uh, I mean, they're, but it's also a way to explain things that they can't explain. It's a way to process psychological problems. It's a way to find motivation. I mean, it serves a purpose for more than just a moral compass, which I mean, but I grew up in church and I think I got a good moral compass from that experience. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
So you don't think it's necessarily a bad thing? Wow. We
Because,
disagree on that.
oh, you think religion just in itself is meant for control?
Well, see, because we can put all that aside. Let's just talk about what does the book say. That's what I go off. I don't even. I mean,
Well,
if you
you
follow the
shouldn't be
book,
doing that.
you see what I'm saying? Like we can. I mean,
But the people that are preaching at you, they aren't reading the book. They're getting.
right. That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying when I told you. I said, if you are using religion to be a good person and you are a good person, you're following it wrong. That's what I was saying. Because I'm like, ain't no way you can be considered good if you follow the book verbatim, word for word. People don't do that though, like what you were
But then well, the excuse is that's the old covenant.
saying. Here we go. Right. But
Not,
see, but it's fucked up shit in the New Testament
yeah,
too.
unless they need it, and then it's quotable.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think they need it to be a good person though.
No. I'm saying if they need it in their argument
Oh,
to be a certainty, it's quotable. But then if it
right.
defies what they're saying, then it's the old covenant.
Right. I think so. It's like yeah, like they can read from Deuteronomy and Exodus and
You
all
say
this shit. They can
Deuteronomy?
read, huh? What's that?
You say Deuteronomy?
Deuteronomy. Yeah, they quote it. They quote
Yeah.
Deuteronomy and Exodus and then when I do it, it's that's you can't use that.
But
Like the I made I
they're
made
not even reading it though.
what you say?
They're not reading it. That's what I think is so funny about the shit that you do is because you go and read it just like I do. I go and read it, and like it does not saying what they're quoting. It is not even talking about the same subject. It is fucking hilarious, and like they quote and they believe how a person who is translating the Bible for them tells them to believe,
Mm,
and they're not even questioning it or reading it. They don't even know. They don't care. There's like just justify my shitty actions, which is like the number one rule. Don't take the Lord's name in vain.
mm.
Like,
That's interesting you say that because man, it's like so you don't think they're reading it. You just
but hey, the Lord's name in vain. I mean, taking the Lord's name in vain is using the Lord's name to justify your own shitty actions. God wants me to do this to you. God is using me to do this to correct. That is taking the Lord's name in vain. It's not saying the
Mm,
fuck word. It's not saying vulgarity in a language that wasn't even around when it was written. Like
mm,
that's not what that means. Control means you're not allowed to say these words.
mm. I like that. I like that. Somebody said they just be cherry. Mm. Somebody said they just be cherry picking. Yeah, that's what you was saying.
They're
If
illogical
it,
people.
yeah. So it's like,
They
but is that a good thing though?
no,
Is it good to be illogical?
no.
Because earlier you said you needed to be a good person, and then I'm like, well, we both agree that if
Not
you follow
everyone is
this,
capable of that sort of complex thought, though.
hmm, so you saying like it's just a cope? It's just they use it to cope and like get through.
I'm just saying a large portion of the congregation of the population don't consider or don't understand. Oh, Absolutely. Can you still hear me? Oh. Can you guys still hear me? Well, I preach the gospel of psychedelics. If you really want to know the truth, take psychedelic. If I had an ideology, it would be hallucinating. Do yourself a favor and go trip. Or at least read the Johns Hopkins study that they just did on psilocybin. It's fucking nuts. Word, yeah.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh,
I said it fucking froze up on me. I don't know why I did that shit. I did not hear. Okay, it's saying I can't. I did not hear what you said though. If it like as soon as you started talking, it like
you do know that the way that you analyze and critique things is not a common way, a common thought process, right? You do know you're an individual. You're like pretty familiar with that, right?
But I'm saying like and I'm glad you said that because I always say, but it's not. I'm not. I don't have no degrees in this shit. I don't have no.
It has nothing to do with education. Family
but
dynamic.
This common sense though.
No, it's not.
It's not, Emery? I feel like I'm using so I don't be using common sense. You what you say? I'm using some other shit.
You're using above common sense. You're using intuition and force and intelligence.
But I'm like, I don't even it's like I don't even be trying. Right. And okay, let's say this is
explain the mountains then. Explain the fucking mountains, huh? It's like, dude, what? Time. No. I'm like unintelligent. That is not like that's just not. That's herd mentality.
You said you say you were raised up in the church. What kind of Christian were you? Were you Baptist or whatever?
Southern Baptist.
Southern Baptist?
Yeah, Southern Baptist and Pentecost. There at the end, I went to Pentecostal church with my mom, and I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah, that ain't it right there. Okay, so you said Southern Baptist, then you said Pentecostal. What the fuck was that? What was that like? Were you like? What was that like as a kid? Did they force you to go? How was it?
No, I mean, actually, I was never forced to go. When I told them I wasn't going to go anymore, they didn't make me. So it was cool.
And see, right there, I want to stop you right there. Your parents were not real Christians. That's what I'm saying. They were not.
Nobody's a real Christian, dude.
But see that. But we have to start with that because I'm going back to what you said earlier. You said if you need it, then.
Well, I mean, I can clarify that if that's what I was trying to do with. You don't think that your thought process is you would assume that yours is a common one, but there's a lot of not very intelligent people out there that can't explain shit, so they need that thing to understand the voice in their head. They don't have a compass on their psyche. I mean, it sucks because if everybody would just realize like it's everything in our psyche is tied to our primary biological purpose for being here, and that is busting a nut. And if we didn't understand that was what we were trying to do, I mean, nobody's ever pretended to like sex to get closer to God, or nobody's ever pretended to like sex to get closer to God. How come only one of them's on a job application? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but hear me out though, because see, it's throwing me off because I feel like most people think the way that I think about this stuff. I feel like most people think like this about something, just not
people vote the way their parents tell them to vote for their entire lives, man.
Without even, man.
They will believe what they're told to believe for their entire life.
But I'm saying, okay, think about this. This is a perfect example. We have biblical theologians and scholars who are very intelligent, except for when it comes to God, and they just say it's faith. They just don't believe on faith. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like people
I can't explain that one. I can't explain that. It makes no sense to me.
You can't explain it.
Fuck no. What? I mean, come on.
But I'm saying they like we have scientists.
We've been to the moon. I know heaven's not there.
We have scientists who are religious though. It's like the people, because this thought process that we use, everyone uses it, but just not for God. Right?
The hope for an afterlife, I think, is the only thing. The fear of not existing, the crushing realization of how insignificant you are as a being. Yeah. Those are things that you would have to accept if you accept there is no God.
That's a tough field, man.
And the brain is a neurotic fucking wad of cells that will lie to you and fuck you up every chance it gets, just so it can get that nut. I'm dead serious about that.
I feel like, bro, we just like you said, the fear, man. It's fear. That's all it is. They go back to that. You can talk about your ontological, teleological, man. You fucking scared of dying. You're scared of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're worried about interdimensional postmortem travel, and we have no concept of that while we're alive. I think we're going to do it while we're dead.
I just am in awe of like people actually crave going to heaven just to worship. Like that's literally all they're going to be doing. Like, have you seen these TikToks? Man, that's all they talk about. They can't wait to fucking die so they can go worship forever. Like,
that's one of the sickest things. Oh, that shit's sick, bro. Oh, that shit's sick.
Man, that shit is icky. Like, I'm like, okay, you don't even do that here. And you have.
Yeah. I thought that once when I was a kid. I thought that at one point. I hope I literally thought we went to like a youth convention and I was just like fucking hot for Jesus, you know, like I was like 8 or 9 and I like looked over at my friend and I was like, wouldn't it be crazy? Like, wouldn't it be cool if we just died on the way home and just went to heaven right now? Like, seriously. And I was like thinking back on that. I'm like, oh, fuck. That is fucked up, man. They're like that. They allow you and promote that kind of thought process. That's
fucking sick, man.
It is,
bro. That's sick shit. But you were a fucking kid.
Here's the sickest. Here's the sickest thing. Well, I'm gonna have to look down and see you burning in hell while I'm standing next to Jesus. You fucking are gonna revel in my eternal damnation just because I'm not listening to you one time in our lives we cross paths. You're gonna be like, I'm gonna have to watch you burn in hell, motherfucker. Like, okay.
I always ask them, okay, like this is what I ask Christians, and I'm gonna ask you the same thing. Okay, so you and our friends, if something bad were to happen to me, like how would you? I always ask them, how would you fucking feel? How would you feel? I'm asking you, how would you feel or something if you found out that I got kidnapped and these Islamic motherfuckers don't like me because I'm talking shit. They came and got me. How would you feel?
I would remember you. Well,
like that's would you be like that's fucked up?
That is a militant ideology,
man,
and that is a real fear.
But to think that you're supposed to go up there and not feel that same way, like that's fucked up. That's crazy.
Well, by their own fucking criteria, what what kind of people are going to be in heaven anyway? Death row inmates that just got out of prison, ask for forgiveness the moment they got a shot.
Do you think there's free will in heaven? Like,
I think I think that there's a fucking pile of stem cells. Like,
so it's like, cause
I want to know what they do with all those fetuses that go up there. That's my question.
Yeah. Because it's my thing. I asked you that because shit, I forgot what I was about to say. I asked you that because I'm like, heaven is a peaceful place where there's no evil and harm and shit like that. And I asked you, is there free will up there? Because if God created a place where there's all good, no bad shit, and free will, I'm like, why couldn't he have just made that here? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I can't. You're asking logical questions to an illogical like concept. It's not gonna match up. It's not gonna match up. You can argue it. Sometimes I feel bad for you, how fervently you argue some of those points, because you're just having a conversation. You're having logical conversations with illogical people, and it is just frustrating as shit.
I don't like when people tell me, bro, there is no God. Like, I fucking know that, but I want to play these games.
I know, but they don't.
I know.
That is a part of the mechanics of what supports their belief. It is like, that's what a cult. That's like what one of the cult like rituals they do is like witnessing. They go out knowing full well that like nobody's gonna like be receptive to that. Then they come back afterwards and they just talk about like how bad they feel for all the lost souls out there and how they're like a small, like a group that's special and they're going to be up there with heaven. They're like the only ones that figured it out. And like, it's just sick. It's sick, dude.
But I always ask them. That's why I just, okay, so you're going to heaven. We know that. Okay, how do you feel about it? Everybody else that's not going. Well, I tried to help them. Okay, I didn't ask you what you tried to do. I said, how do you feel about them going? Well, it's unfortunate and I'm going to be sad. No, you're not, because ain't none of that in heaven. So the real you would be sad and hurt that your brothers and sisters not going up there with you. But when you get up there, you won't feel that. So that's not even the real you. God, this is the trip thing. I'm making a video on this, but this is
whose idea of the afterlife are you going off of? Because I know like that's like a very Presbyterian idea.
Yeah. If I had to choose, I would rather go to the Islamic heaven because you get 72 birds.
Like I was playing World of Warcraft and like fucking got me and shit. Braces.
Hear me out though. Fuck, you made me forget what I was going to say. Okay, hold on. What was I saying? I feel like I was on to something. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So God literally, I want you to see if you can follow me with this. Tell me what you think. I've come up with a theory that God created the one thing that they said he doesn't want. When we ask them, why not end all suffering and just help us all and give us all what we want, they say shit like, well, God doesn't want robots, right? He wanted to give us the choice to worship him or not. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then they flip it and they say, we're going to go to heaven where there's no sadness, no sorrow, no pain, none of that. But I'm like, okay, how would you feel if I went to hell? You say you'd be sad. And I'm like, no, you won't, because when you go to heaven, ain't no sadness, like you just said. And if you think about it, God created the one thing they say he don't want, a fucking place full of robots that worship him endlessly, simultaneously, never ending. You see what I'm saying? What you think about that?
Well, but that would be the ideal. Like that would, if you think about like what this place would be like if it was actually the creation of somebody that was like, oh, you know what I want to do today? I want a bunch of fucking people to worship me, blah, 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 blah. Well, you took a few extra steps if that's what you were going for. Like, why didn't you just make us all a bunch of like amorphous gumdrops? If you were just going on number of people to fucking worship you, then do that. Like, why do we have nipples? I don't get why do men have nipples? I don't fucking understand that shit. You know what explains this? Billions of years of fucking. That's what explains this.
Listen to me, man. In the last video I just did, Allah, this is what Allah did. Listen to me. So Allah said he had a favorite people. And then he let his favorite people, he let their newborn sons get slaughtered. And he let Pharaoh keep the women, but kill all the newborn sons. And then a little bit on later down the line, he set them free and forgave them. And I'm like what you just said, if that was your end goal, why not just do that? Why not just create it like that?
It makes it's because then that would mean that you were insignificant. And
but we are, according to them, any fucking way. So like, why not treat us that way?
Yeah, don't you have to kill some infidels to go to Allah heaven? Like, I don't think I'd be getting in. I'm not going to kill anybody.
Man, that fucking book.
I listened to your like, I mean, some of your 5-hour conversation with the Muslim guy, and I caught in a few times in there that like you were talking about. So if I read this and understand this, and I still don't believe it, then I'm supposed to die, right? That was the idea. Like as long as, because he said something like, if you haven't been exposed to it, or if you haven't learned it, then you're forgivable. Yes. And so then I talked to this Muslim guy like right after that on Omegle. And he was like, you just got to read and try to understand the Quran. I was like, fuck no, dude, I'm not stupid.
Trap me. But the guy literally said that if you have not heard about this bullshit, you're cool. I'm like, why would y'all tell anybody about it then?
Yeah, you're brave, man. To try to understand that. Because it's not going to make sense to you. And that means you deserve to die. La, 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 la.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. No, listen, man. Okay. They tell me I don't understand the book. Listen, when they tell me I don't understand the book, I tell them I don't understand the book. And then I ask them, how am I supposed to understand the book? You won't believe what these motherfuckers tell me, man. They literally tell me to go listen to someone else who doesn't understand the fucking book. They say go get an understanding by watching him talk about his interpretation.
Yeah, and then they go back to their cult and talk about what a sinner you are. And they reinforce that by telling each other that they're going to go to heaven. And that's, I mean, it's like Rick and Morty. It's fucking stupid. I mean, it's absurd. But so many smart people fucking believe that. Why is that true? Why? That's the question. That's the shit that stumps me. But like, I mean, again, it's so frustrating to have, because you have the logical conversation in your head, but then you bring that logical conversation to the person and they just blow it apart with illogical shit. And it, like, I can't even have those conversations anymore. But I mean, like, this isn't, you're losing viewers because we're agreeing with each other, man. They want to see debate, bro. We need to find a topic we disagree on.
But see, this is what I'm saying. I can't like what you were saying. I'm thinking like, okay, how do we debate illogic? Right. The most I could do is
ideology.
Yeah. How okay, like, and then another part of this thing where I don't really like the whole debate thing is because we're literally debating. We're debating whether or not a God is true. Meanwhile, in other countries, they're using this shit and they're wreaking havoc. Blood is getting shed as we're debating. So I'm like, we don't even have time to debate. We need to.
Woke is the new religion. They're about to fucking do that shit here.
You said there's a new religion?
Yeah. Woke and based.
Oh yeah, woke. Oh my god.
That's just coming.
Are you talking about the rock worshippers?
The what?
Or are you talking about the rock worshippers, the people who got the fucking crystals and shit? Are you talking about them? Or are you talking about like
woke, I mean, woke
third
people.
eye? Yeah.
I mean, what? Like, no. Like culture. It's going to be a cultural thing. It's
like, I've heard people say like you woke or you sleep or whatever, but I don't know. I never knew what.
Well, politically correct, like, you know, like all that, like that whole shit. Woke based, like red pilled, those, like all that shit, like the it's ideological nationalism. It's nuts. I don't know. I've read a lot of shit from both sides, and it's pretty crazy. And also, I told you I think I know what the answer is. I don't think I'm very agnostic anymore. I can share that with you.
Okay, go ahead. What's that? You said you know that. You think you know the answer. What is it?
Yeah, like this. we became human 300,000 years ago, right? Like what version we are now, we're 300,000 years old. And apparently God's been a part of that for 2,000 years, but traditional like values predate religion as far back into the past as we can see, you know. And there's a crazy correlation between cultures, or not cultures, but religions that enforced like, okay, I'll say this. I think America's like in a hoe phase right now, right? Like all of a sudden everybody's values just like changed and they became a little bit hoish. I mean, I'm not gonna like, I'm not upset about it, but it's just indicative of the breakdown of society. And I think that is because of the lack of family dynamic that people have anymore. You know, like they need that structure to develop the ability to take on the harshness of life. And without that, they have to rely on things like God, and they have to rely on things like to make life bearable. And they're complacent and they don't want to be interrupted. And, you know, but there's what I took notice of was the family dynamic thing that I saw, that it goes from like parents that have been each other's sole sexual partner their entire life, like how successful their children are. And I mean, you can look you can see as it like falls apart going down the line, right? Like, I mean, it depends on the number of sexual partners. It's crazy. Like it is the dynamic that a child gets when it's in its developmental years, which is when it's developing myelin around its neural fibers, is for some reason teaches it. I don't know how, but how to like complex problem solving, abstract thinking. It teaches it how to look into the future and see a threat coming. I mean, that's the survival instinct, foresight that separates us from chimpanzees, like bonobo. But look at bonobo chimpanzees. They just fuck all the time. They don't know who the biological father or male is, and they raise the young communally. And I think that what made us humans was we went from that to raising as a mated pair and promoting the development of myelin around neurofibers, which regulate impulses and help us help us put together pieces that don't exist yet. It goes anywhere from the monster under the bed to the cure for cancer. And it also reflects what kind of life you live. It's crazy.
I think you figured it out. I like that. I like that shit.
Well, okay. Mine goes all the way to the universes have nebula kicking out like little atoms or little nuclei to spin dust into planets to hopefully grow conscious life form to join it somehow. And then my mom can finally have that God she's always talking about.
Oh man. I'm not
that's next level.
Like I'm not like I don't know if you do this. I'm gonna ask you, but like I don't respect. I know they say respect the person, not the belief and shit like that. But when it comes to all this shit, I just feel like you got one fucking shot. I'm gonna explain what I mean when I say that. But like my question for you is like, do you let me see how I say it. Do you respect like not? I ain't saying a person. I'm saying like, do you respect religion, like religious beliefs? Do you respect those? Like, if somebody say they're a Christian, you're like, I respect that. You know, I understand. Like, how do you feel when like you respect that shit?
I mean, children believe in fairy tales. I don't think that. I don't like it. It doesn't make them seem like I would get along with them better or something. Like I don't think that we would vibe too well. So I would definitely pass judgment, I think. But I would I would respect them enough to give them the floor, and like maybe we would, you know, like because I would want that respect. So I give it.
That's kind of like what I say. Like I'm like, okay, if you tell me you're religion or whatever, I'm gonna give you one fucking shot, you know, to explain what you mean when you say that. If you say, oh, I just go to church and read my Bible and I just say to myself, you don't even fucking count because you're not even a Christian. So you going to hell with me any fucking way.
Yeah.
If you say, well, you know, I believe in Allah, but I only pray like 2 times a day. I don't wear all that shit on my head. I'm just living for it. You cool. You know, I don't have no friends that's religious, but I can be cool with a religious person. But because now, like you said, nobody's a real Christian. So it's kind of some of them, but a lot of them I can get along with. But the people like on TikTok and all these proselytizers and evangelical pastors and mega church, no, I couldn't get it. I couldn't do it.
Oh, come on. That is so much about control. Like, pay us a tax and then we won't pay a tax. If you want to come here and if you want to hear the way I think that this Bible should have been written, then you got to pay me 10% of the income that you earn. And then I'm going to go buy a Ferrari because that's what God wants me to do.
Man, tax. And I still can't believe that they don't tax the fucking church, though. I cannot believe that shit. Like, how dare
the difference between a cult and a religion is, right?
What?
Their tax exempt status.
So wait a minute, you telling me? Well, but like, isn't all this shit just cults though?
It's what?
Cults. Like, isn't all of this shit just a bunch of cults running around claiming?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, but if like I started a cult and I wanted to be like legit, you know, I would have to pay taxes. Like Kanye had to pay taxes. That's not a religion.
Wow.
But that's why he went to Wyoming, because there's no land tax, I don't think.
So like, why don't? Well, I haven't looked this up. Why don't they have to pay taxes? Is what I'm like.
Apparently they put it back into the. No, that can't be it. I have no idea, honestly. I have no fucking idea.
Like, why don't they?
I worked in I managed a cattle ranch in Montana for a long time, and it was like it's fucking huge. It was like 18,000 acres, and our neighbors were Hutterites, which are Amish. They're like Montana Amish. They have 4-wheelers and drink like Busch Light and shit. But they did not have to pay any tax, and they just bought up land. They made so much money. They didn't have to pay for machinery. They didn't have to pay for water rights. They didn't have to pay anything, and like they just had hundreds of thousands of acres, and they're agricultural industrialists, and they were killing it. But they're a little like a little ant mound, you know. They all wear the same clothes and they all do the same work, and like that's just how they're a colony. It's literally a colony. And
what? I need to look this up. Why aren't they being taxed though? Like, why?
It's got to be some like
everybody else is being taxed though.
It's got to be some like King George fucking decree left over from. It doesn't make sense to me.
Like, why don't we tax their ass? Because the trick part is they have a lot of
private jets, dude. They need to be paying taxes. Not all.
And they have a lot of influence on, like, you can't even run for office if you're not a Christian. Like, people won't vote for you. You won't get past this shit. So like,
it matters which kind of Christian you are too. It matters if you're Catholic. It matters if you're Baptist. It matters if you're.
Oh my God! Read this shit. It says
Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
It says the tax exemption of religious institutions is based on the principles of separation of church and state. Bullshit. But they don't do. But it's not even separated.
The separation of church and state is to protect the state from the church, so we don't have another Vatican. That's what that means. There's no way that they get to not pay taxes to.
But I'm saying, like, it says they want to separate church and state, but they don't fucking separate church and state. We swear on the Bible in court. You have to, put your right? So like, how is it separated? at least let's separate it first, then let's make them tax them. But don't give them all this power and status and then still make them like, come on, that's not right.
Oh, it's not. It's
the answer that I just read is bullshit. The answer that I just read is literally bullshit.
Yeah.
To based on the principles of separation of church and state. Meanwhile,
what's the name of the website?
It's shit. I just googled why do we not tax the church? And
oh, bro, that 12 Corinthians thing that you posted. God, that shit was so funny.
Oh, I saw what you were talking about, but I was talking about hold up.
But that just goes to like even more context means the entire idea of like the thing about the thorn in the side wasn't about like God wanting you to suffer and they misinterpreting it. That was that dude being dramatic as fuck.
I saw what you were talking about, and I realized that I realized.
He said, you can tell the court it's against your beliefs and anything. That's what I'm saying. If God's so real, then use him as a character witness in a court case. Let me see that shit. Put him on a job application as a reference.
He said, Tobin says, Freedom from Religion Foundation is an organization that is working to keep church and state separate. They're not separate though. It's too late. These motherfuckers.
But it really, in what way? I mean, I feel like religion's getting fucking phased out. I feel like this form of religion where the God came down as a demigod and was among us and taught us the ways of, like, told us the truth or something. I think that version of religion, it got us out of the dark ages, but it served its purpose. And I mean, we're about to go into another dark ages again. So,
but they're like, I mean, come on, it's getting to the point where it's starting to become like very hard for them to believe this bullshit and keep this shit going. And
we've ticked off every box that it was used to God to explain. Like we ticked everything off. We've attributed to everything but God. The only thing we can't do now is talk about the afterlife because nobody fucking knows.
So you saying that's the only thing they got left is the afterlife? Well, we don't fucking know, so therefore God.
Yeah, the fear of the unknown, man.
That's the weakest. That's the weakest shit though. That's the weakest one they got. That's all they got.
Well, I mean,
like, come on, man. Like, I mean, think about like fucking snakes talking, people coming back from the dead, and boats with all this. Nah, we can't. Nah, this shit ain't. They really don't even talk about that shit like that. No.
People lived for 800 years and then built a yacht.
Nine shit. Man, come on. This is it's total bullshit. Like,
they believe that Jesus of Galilee broke bread for 3,000 people.
And my thing is, bro. But I'm like, how did Jesus feed all those people back then, and we have people that are starving now? That's the part I can't seem to wrap my head around how they believe all these miracles happen. When is he gonna split one of these miracles?
I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna read that passage. What is that in? Is it just in breaking?
You talking about the bread? He fed all
just feeds the masses. Because I bet if I read that thing now, it would not even make.
Hold on, let me see. I'm gonna type it in. It says when.
Miracle of Jesus feeding the masses.
Yeah. The miracle.
Oh, it's in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Is it all of them?
I wonder how closely that. And that there it says feeding of the 5,000. I bet every single one of these accounts are different.
Man, it says 5,000 on Google. It's in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Okay, so what is your understanding of that story? Just like cold, just out of nowhere. Like, how do you remember that story?
I've never even read it.
But it was something like they were starving or something. Like
I never read it,
or they were his disciples. Okay,
I kid you not. When I do my Bible videos, that's when I fucking read the book. Yeah, I have not read this. I've heard, of course, I've heard about it and seen little videos on it. I don't heard them talk about it in church. I've never read it for myself, and that's why I tell people I don't know shit yet. But I know one thing. I know Genesis 1-14. I know those. I know those down pat. Okay, I know that shit to the teeth. But we flying this motherfucker as we build it. I don't know shit. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing but what I've read and understood and wrote down so far. And Matthew, I ain't even got to the Gospels yet. Maybe I should skip to that shit.
Well, okay. I mean, I kind of just, when I see something interesting, I'll just like read the chat, or when I think about something, I'll be like, because I did a TikTok last night about Job. I was like, doesn't Job sound like just a homeless man trying to get some money out of somebody? He's like, I was once a great and powerful farmer, and the devil and God were taking bets.
Yeah, that's a horrible story, man. And they talk, but when they talk about it as if. See, I think it's a difference between not thinking critically and being disingenuous. I think these motherfuckers are really just disingenuous. Like they really are avoiding and trying to soften this shit up on purpose.
Well, within 5 verses of the Bible, it's not real. It contradicts itself. Myth busted. Those myths.
And what verse is that? What you said, the 5th verse? What is that?
No, I mean I don't know if it's the 5th, but like Cain is banished, and boom, he finds another tribe. Myth busted. It's like he finds another big tribe of people. He's banished from Eden. He's like, oh, what's up? Here's another bunch of people. That's easy. Myth busted.
Man, people say shit like, leave them alone. They beliefs not hurting no fucking body. I'm like, yeah, of course these 2 and 3 people who just go to church on Sunday and go home and cook fucking Sunday dinner. Yeah, they beliefs not hurting no fucking body. But I'm not talking about them. They don't even like. I'm talking about there are actual stories out here of people being traumatized and abused, and a lot of wrong has happened to people because of religion, not because of. You see what I'm saying? So it's like we cannot sit here and talk about this shit like it's just a belief that sounds ridiculous. It's the same as like being religious is not the same as believing in fucking unicorns. It's different because show me where there's a book on unicorns that has caused so much damage.
But if people would accept that feeling in them is not God telling them to fuck a child, it's actually their innate feeling of the need to procreate, and they would deal with it accordingly, then maybe that would solve some problems instead of them going around like, oh no, this is the way God told me to cleanse your soul, young man. Shh, don't tell anybody your soul's been cleansed. Like, I mean, that is a part of some of the sick ass fucking justifications that people use to cover up the fact that that their primary biological purpose is to procreate. And you take that away from a priest, you're gonna do something.
That's fucked up. I think that's where that comes from. That's why they fucking do that shit.
Because they won't admit that the best feeling that we have as a human being is busting a nut, and the closer you bust that nut to the egg, the better it feels.
You ain't fucking lying. You hear me?
If it felt good, blow a load on the titties, we would have been extinct 150,000 years ago.
Oh shit! God, listen. God took his time when he came up with that shit. That shit busted. Shit.
Yeah, bro. How do you explain that we got to here? I'd say that that water runs downhill. Like it takes the path of least resistance. That explains gallbladders, nipples on men. That explains why we die. That explains every fucking thing. Accept it. We want to fuck. That's it.
That's it.
That's semi-Pythagorean philosophy.
That's it. That's all we want to do. That's it.
Yeah, but we have.
But it's like that's the main thing that they're hard on. Like they don't like that. That's the main thing religion does not like. Is the one thing we are supposed to do. They don't want you fucking. They don't want you fucking. Before you do this, you gotta get a contract first. You gotta be.
And how better to police that than to tell them that they can't hide it from anyone, and if they do, they're going to be burned in hell for eternity. They'll give you their money.
Some Christians don't even think there's a literal hell. It's like, man, y'all at least what the least they could do is get together, debate each other, come up with what they're gonna go with, and then come to us. I can't like they literally all of them say something different. I had one Christian tell me God doesn't control everything. I had another Christian tell me hell is not a little place. I had another Christian tell me the fiery pits. I'm like, man, y'all
may God bless your soul.
Y'all get the fucking together. Y'all get together and come up with a game plan, and they need to get on the same fucking page first, and then they can come holler at me. Cause I'm like, bro, like cause the Christianity on TikTok is like 500 different religions. I'm like, man, who the fuck's telling the truth?
I feel like I've been hiding from you. Hold on,
You better get on the camera.
Yeah, what's up? Oh, which camera is that?
I gotta put you on the big screen. Hold on. There we go. We split it.
Oh,
can I make us bigger? I think I can. Yeah, that's too close. Hold on. Man, them glasses is fucking hot, man. That shit fire, man. I like them glasses. I told you that already. I said, man, I gotta give me some fucking glasses like that. That shit is busting, man. Cause I like how those, but I gotta give me some of that shit.
Well,
to compliment cause like the glasses you be wearing on top, like, man, this shit right here, them bitches are. I like that shit.
Those are $6 glasses from Zenny.com, bro. There are $6 that came in every color. And one color was like Jeffrey Dahmer, because it's like orange, but they're just big aviators, and they're $6. And I
like big frames though. I don't like mine right now. I'm wearing kind of small. I like big frames. You got. I'm gonna write that down. Hold on.
Like, I was traumatized when I found out I needed glasses. Like,
right? How the fuck I'm supposed to worship a God that want me to walk around this motherfucker blind? I can't see shit.
Well, okay, that's okay. So what would our existence be like if we weren't able to use these detectors, these like impulse detectors, to navigate a 3-dimensional space, right? We'd just be like meat sacks. Like, what would we do without these input? Like, I mean, they create electrical impulses or some shit, whatever.
But like, what do you think people did back then when they couldn't fucking see? They needed glasses back then, I'm sure. What did they do?
Oh, who knows how many people have come and died with these problems? And I mean, just throughout history, that just did not. I mean, it was just a part of the forward motion of our species to get to here, right? Like, but I'm gonna see, when people are like, what period do you feel like you should have lived in? And I was like, right now, I'm good on now. Like, if you think you should have lived in the past, you've never had heat.
Please don't take me fucking back. You know, way I'd be walking around in the bushes, can't fucking see shit at night. Pitch black dog. I'm trying to run from a bear, and I can't fucking see because I need glasses. Man, you can have that shit.
How did that make it? Maybe that's like something that's not determined. It's just
the survival of the fittest or something. Because I mean, god damn, I can't see shit now when I take my glasses off at night in a room that got look like, man. Imagine if I was in the wilderness, I'm running in the trees, getting caught in bear traps and falling off cliffs and shit, man.
I don't know. I wonder if they would have known until like they like really like just because. I didn't really know that I couldn't see until I put glasses on. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why didn't anybody tell me?
I thought I was doing a pretty good job before I had glasses. I'm like, I wasn't doing shit.
Well, I can't see like up to here. So I lived like out in Montana, like on this ranch, and I was always looking out. You know, I never looked close unless it was like mechanicking or something. And like, it wasn't that bad because my eyes were never strained. But when I got back here and I was like, everything was like here, I was like, holy shit, I'm doing way too many drugs. Like, I'm going blind, I think. And I know I just went and got glasses. I was like, I feel stupid now. How long has this been? Like, it is so clear. It is so clear.
I think I went like a whole year without glasses. I was fucked up. But it's like what Tobin said. My other senses started kicking in. Right. Like I can hear better than I can see. Like I can hear your ass. Like if you drop a pin, I'm gonna wake up like.
I wonder,
like I can't fucking see.
I wonder if the sense of self should be considered a sense.
The sense of self.
Yeah, if that could be like a something that you could put a proper gauge on, a sense of self. Like I don't think a lot of people have that. That could be like the sixth sense.
I don't fucking know. I never heard of that.
You'd be surprised. I mean, a popular idea that's floating around right now is like metacognition. Have you heard that term?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've heard of that shit, and I have not looked that up. What is that? What is that, man?
This is what metacognition?
Metacognition. Yeah. What is it?
It's your awareness of your own thought process.
Yep. I know.
Like, if you feel yourself reacting to something, are you able to stop yourself and say, like, okay, you think this way because you're a human. Yep. Stop, human. Think about what you're doing. Like there's another voice talking to you to keep you from doing embarrassing shit.
I feel like when I'm talking to Christians and to keep me from smacking the shit out of them, I gotta remember, you know what? I'm a human. That's what humans want to do. I talk to myself. I hear that voice in my head. Damn right.
But they think that you know that God exists. You're just denying him to live a life of sin.
Is that really what they think?
Yeah, bro.
They think I know he exists?
Yeah. And that you just hope that nothing happens after life because you're afraid that you're going to go to hell. Because you know you're going to go to hell. That's their mindset.
And the trip part is like they think we deserve it. That's the sickest shit. Like they think we've actually done something to deserve eternal.
It's predetermined, but you deserve everything that happens.
I always ask them, like, okay, what have I done? You know, the trip part is they'll say shit like, you know, have you ever lied before? Have you ever stole? I'm like, yeah, I've done that shit. Now explain to me why I deserve to fucking burn or be cast aside or be separated from everything forever. Like, how does that, put that on the scale and show me where that shit weigh out? Like where it balances. It doesn't fucking balance out.
I mean, I would go to hell no matter what because I will always take the credit for what happens in my life. I will never give that shit up. I will never give it up to something that.
Can't do that. Can't do none of that. No, ain't no taking no credit for. They want you to. They simultaneously. Let me tell you something about these dumbasses. These motherfuckers are so fucking stupid. They simultaneously think we have free will to choose. And then they also thinking that God is doing all the good shit. He's all good. He's only doing the good shit for us. Like I'm like, bro, not okay. The book says I create the good. I bring the darkness and the light, good and evil. That's what the fucking book says.
I don't think that the person Jesus, the message that Jesus had was about a God. I don't think that he was talking about a God. I think that they manipulated that. I think they manipulated, like, I think Jesus was a pretty in tune, like pretty enlightened cat. And he was like trying to get people to understand that, like, their beliefs. I think he was probably saying, like, don't stop believing in this like ridiculous God that's like making you do all this crazy shit. Like stop, like love each other and quit fighting. And you know, they were like, okay, all right, well, we're gonna give the credit, like do these things, but for God. And every other sentence, like literally every other verse of the Bible is just like, be a good person for the kingdom of heaven. And it's like, I'm just gonna be a good person. Like,
right, man. Come on. I was watching a video earlier, and I was trying to do some research on like the Old Testament versus the New Testament, and the fucking lady said that the Old Testament was like the people had to do certain things to get. Man, I forgot what she was saying. I didn't write that shit down. But basically, she was saying how like in the Old Testament you had to follow the law, and in the New Testament you had to follow like what you saying, Jesus and all that shit. But I'm like, no, God got it right the first time. He meant that shit. Like we can talk about following Jesus and loving your neighbor. We can talk about that all day long. That's cool.
Bible got it right.
They meant what the fuck they said.
Yeah, and those were people that were doing that on purpose, though.
People talk about Jesus like Jesus was such a great guy, and I'm like, I thought you said Jesus and God were the same person.
No, Mary.
We can.
And she gaslighted a fucking religion into existence, bro. That's how good they are, bro. She's like,
that thing, man. Yeah, man. That poutine. That what happened when you get some of that poutine, man.
Joseph was an idiot. She was like,
oh, he's a duck. That was a duck. I'm gonna tell you something. Ain't no way I'm gonna come home and believe that. You said, hold on, wait.
Yeah.
Hold on, wait. You said you had a child.
Bro.
Now a ghost spirit thing? Come on.
So Gabriel knocked up Elizabeth in like the verse before that, and then Gabriel hops over and knocks up Mary, and like Gabriel's either the bartender at the bar downtown or like, but they were so shit. It's like, hey Joseph, you know what? This is God's baby. We should get the fuck out of town. Or nobody's gonna believe you. And they left, and then like some strangers showed up and gave him a bunch of gold and like some shit to make him smell good.
I heard about that shit.
I'm like, what the fuck? But
some ain't add up here. She said it was God's baby. Now all these dudes showing up with gifts and shit. Mm-hmm. Somebody gotta explain this shit.
And if King Herod like killed all the male children that when Jesus was being born, why were there just like 12 dudes that were the same age as Jesus? 20 years later, like Joseph is a cuck.
You can't ask them kind of questions, man. You don't get to ask questions in this shit. You just gotta go with it. Believe. Just fucking believe this shit.
You just gotta get a cross tattooed on your back, yo. Carry that bird.
Yeah, just fucking go out into the wilderness, catch you a wild beast, chop it in half, make you a fucking rock altar, and burn that bitch for God. Please him. That's what he want. He want all that. He want.
Oh no.
Well, no, he don't. He don't want no more. What you about to say?
Child.
Yeah.
So like in the Old Testament, they're both Abrahamic religions, Muslim and Christianity. But so like Muslims believe it was one was Isaac and one was Ishmael.
Yeah.
And each religion believes it was the other brother that was taken up to the mountain. And
stupid.
You're gonna tell me, all right, Revelations was written on the island of the idea of the hell is a combination between Revelations and like Dante, the Inferno. Like that's what people think of as hell, and it's not even really an account in the Bible of hell like that. They're just like, oh fuck, that's scary as shit. I don't want to go there. I want to go to heaven. And there's not even a really an account of heaven either. The idea of heaven is the Old Testament idea of heaven, and the idea of hell is from the last book in the New Testament. So like take it from like the first and the last book. Now like everything in between explains it. Just read it. But Revelations was written by John the Exile on the island of Patmos outside of Greece, where he was exiled to, and all it did was grow like psilocybin mushrooms. So like it makes a little bit more sense to me that somebody sat in a cave and tripped the fuck out and wrote a book, and like they're like, yo, grow that.
They have some fucking shrooms, man. They wrote this fucking bullshit. They wrote this shit.
That makes a lot more sense. People have been tripping forever.
Yeah, that makes more sense than this. Yes, ma'am. Asked, why couldn't God make Jesus from dirt like he did Adam? What do you think about that? Why didn't he? Why?
What do you mean?
Because in Genesis,
like God pulled him out of the sand.
Because in Genesis, God made Adam and Eve he made Adam from dirt, and then he made Eve from Adam's rib. She's asking, instead of us having a virgin birth and all this, couldn't he have just snapped his fucking fingers and Jesus poofed up?
Oh yeah.
You want to know what they're gonna tell me? I think I can answer.
He could have done that to my mom's brain tumor, you know.
Let's see. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Like, you won't believe what they'll tell us though, man. Like they'll literally tell us. This is what they'll say. They'll say God had to impregnate the virgin because he needed a virgin birth. He needed a begotten son from a woman, and the woman, you know, they will say like they will try to explain to us the logic of God. They will try to explain to us why God did what he did and how it must have been. It had to be done that way. And then what you say?
His timing was immaculate, right? Right around Christmas, year zero. Like, fuck, nailed it.
Man, they'll try to explain to us what God was thinking, why he did it, and how it must have been. It had to be done that way. And then when we do the same thing, they tell us, "Oh, you don't get to understand God. You can't understand God. His ways are higher than our ways." And I'm like, what? Okay, well, how do you tell me that it must have been done that way? It had to be done that way. How do you get to tell me that? And then when I try to do the same thing, you tell me I can't understand it. I mean, this fucking God, this weak ass God.
That's how I'm like, okay, how can you not see that it's what's inside of your mind? You're just projecting that out to make you feel better about what you're thinking, because you're like, I am the chosen motherfucker that can talk to God. You can't talk to God. I can, and only I understand what he's saying, and that makes sense to them. And it's like that's the voice in here. Nope, fuck no. Who am I praying to then? I don't know. What? Who blesses me in this life? I don't. Are you blessed? I don't fucking know. Like, I'm still alive. How do you explain that you're still alive? Like, I didn't die. I don't fucking know. Like, you think
so it's like what you were saying about like you said they think they're hearing God, and they're the only ones that can understand what he's saying, and they know he's talking to them. My question would be, like, what would you do if God asked you to murder your whole fucking family? That's a trick question, because you can't tell me he wouldn't ask you that, because once again, God's ways is higher than our ways. We can't understand what he would do. We don't know what he would do. You can't tell me he wouldn't ask you that. And also, he asked, who did he test to kill his own son? I can't remember who he tested.
Abraham.
Abraham.
That was the start. This is the start of the Abraham.
Yeah. Oh, Abraham. Okay, so you can't say he wouldn't ask me to do this because he asked Abraham to do it. You can't say I know my God wouldn't do that. You don't know your God. You said we can't understand him. So what would you do if he asked you that?
I mean, think of the ego in that motherfucker. This God that this God nobody's ever talked to before. Yo, he's telling me to go kill my son.
Wow.
And at the very last minute, he's going to send an angel to be like, "No, bro, stop. Don't kill your son."
That's fucking ridiculous, man.
And then, I mean, what's that? The burning bush, like shit. Like,
I hate the fucking burning bush.
You gotta be tripping, bro. You do tripping, man. That explains it.
They just, that's it. They fucking tripping. Everybody. But it's like, bro, like, man.
I was in the desert. They had cactus. They were tripping hard.
I'm making a video. I'm still writing it up. The title of the video is "How Dare You Be." I'm gonna say this is the title of the video. The title of the video is "How Dare You Be White and Christian," and it's like a spinoff on what like Chris Rock had once said that if you are black and you're a Christian, you got a short-term memory. But I was gonna try to do a spinoff, and I was gonna talk to like white people, and I was gonna be like, okay, like, how can you like look at the image that your forefathers, look at what they did. How dare you worship that God? How dare you be like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what? We know what doesn't happen. I'm still writing it up, but I was like I feel like to be like what regardless of what race you want to call yourself or whatever, I'm saying like to be a Christian is bad. Like to be in this religion is bad. Whatever side you on, whatever skin tone you, whatever you look like, being religious is bad because everybody has a bad past. Like all of us have a bad past because of this shit. All of us have a You see what I'm saying? Like all of us have something that we wish we could erase and forget. All of us have something like that because of religion. All of it. It's like, damn.
Or for some weird reason, God's hiding in all the jails. You know,
man.
There's no regret.
It's like everybody that go to jail, fucking
yeah. God's like,
everybody that go to jail, fucking religious.
I'm gonna hide where people are looking for an excuse to why they fucked up because their parents weren't around and they didn't learn the cognitive ability to think about the consequences of their actions. So they're not thinking about whether or not to rob somebody or pull the trigger. And as a result of that, they go to jail and they can't handle that. So they have to blame something that they can't control.
Like the devil and shit like that. But I mean, honestly though, like if we would treat religion like what it is, I would be cool. Like it's a coping mechanism. The people who don't want to think hard, or the people who need some type of a pick me up, or something to help them get through life, make it all just easy and shit. If we would treat it like that, then I'd be cool. Let's treat it like a fucking like a hobby. Like let's treat it like a hobby. It doesn't get a say so in important shit. It doesn't get plastered everywhere. It gets treated like a fucking hobby. You're taxed. Yes, you are taxed. You have to fucking pay to go on these trips and all this. Like let's treat it like a fucking hobby, right? Like treat it like playing football, playing a sport. I think we should treat it just like that. No one has to die over it. If I don't like your favorite football team, cool. You keep it to yourself. If you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. And everybody be cool. If they were treated like that, I'd be cool. I would really be cool. But it's not even like that. That's not how they treat it. That's not how they portray it. That's not how they teach it. That's not how they promote it. That's not how they market it. It's not marketed that way. It's marketed as the be-all, end-all, alpha, omega. This is true. Regardless how you feel about it, get your life right. If you don't do this, you're sick. If you don't do it this way, you're not living right. You're going to fucking burn. That's how they say. Like, no. Treat it like a fucking hobby. Treat it like a sport or like some type of niche, and we can be cool. But I don't like people tell me, hey, keep this shit to yourself. Why are you mad at other people's religion? It's too late for that. We can't even have that. I can't have that conversation. It's too late. It's too fucking late.
That's an ideology.
So I'm saying too late though. We're at the point of no return now. Ain't no going back to where everybody 50-50 leaving each other alone. Nope. Because every time I go to the fucking donut shop, every time I go buy me a coffee or a Dr. Pepper, in God we trust is on what I'm using to exchange my goods. No, we can't. It's too late. They done already took over. So.
But if that does it, that's, I just, religion, talking about it, that makes me, the signs of it, I'm like, I understand why it's everywhere. I get it. It doesn't affect me. I get why it's there. And I really don't think that people are like, like holding on to money. Like, I need to hate people. God, I don't think that's what's happening. I don't know. I just, it's there. And it's a tradition at this point. And I mean, who even fucking really thinks about God anyway? They keep everywhere watching everything you do until you want to go bust a weird nut somewhere in a closet, and then you think God can't see you, and you're lying to yourself and on every different way, in every different way to just justify the fact that you want to go have sex. Or do something that gives you a reward like that, like whatever it is, playing video games, or I don't know.
I want you to explain something to me. You said it doesn't affect you, and I want to know what you mean. Like, how does it?
I mean, it's like telling me to go hang out with my little brother. I don't have a little brother. Like, what the fuck? It has no. It's like it bounce off me. Like, what the? Okay, I won't. Bye.
So, I just think like. Is when you say that, it's like we just come from two different worlds, man. I'm like, is there not a church on every block in your neighborhood?
There was when I was where I grew up.
Because I
went to the church on the corner. Everybody was Christian. It's everywhere in there. Like, I mean, there's definitely fucked up shit that happens in churches, and I think that it's terrible. There's fucked up shit that goes on in the name of God all across this world, and I think it's terrible. And I think that it's something that you can't do anything about it because not Christians, but people that aren't intelligent enough to realize that like it's actually within your control. They need that to like take the burden off of them, because it's crushing at that point when you have to accept accountability for the situation you're in. You know, that the brain does not want to accept that. So it's like, okay, it's telling itself that it's not so bad, and then it's telling itself that that's God telling it that. So it's somebody else telling it that, and like, I don't know. It's low level thinking. You know, it sucks. I feel bad for them because life is so much better knowing that there's nothing after this. Like this is all I got, and like I got to give it.
Spend your time better and shit.
Yeah,
wisely. Yeah.
And I'm a good person, and I do that without the threat of punishment.
Tobin says, my courthouse has a cross on each side of the courthouse. This is what I'm saying. Like, man, I do understand what you're saying. And it's just like, bro, like religion, it affects me.
It's very simple.
Like, I don't know if you watch my videos, but I do not.
Dude, I feel you.
It affects me though, bro. It affects me. It does. It really does. It really does affect me, man.
So much though. And none of them would change their mind. It would do nothing. I would live my whole life and I probably wouldn't change one person's mind. It would feel good, but it doesn't. They feel sorry for you. They feel just as sorry for you as you feel that they are stupid. You're like, man, I'm gonna have a tough time watching him burn in hell, and like, you know, like that's some sick gratification for them. They like that sick story in youth that they tell you, like they go to China and then they're like held hostage and asked, "Do you believe in God?" And if they say yes, they get shot. And it's like, would you be willing to die for God? Like, fuck no, I'm getting paid to be here. Like, you know, I don't believe in God at all. Like, get that shit away from me. My bad. I'll go home. Nah.
I mean, there's a friend of mine who's on TikTok too, and she sent me her book. I'm reading her book right now, and like she knows about like religious trauma and what it does, like what you saying about getting shot if you say you believe. And it's like man, what? Like I can't just I don't know. I just like what. I guess every journey begins with a single step. This is the best I could do.
Hold on a second. I need to put a hoodie on.
Okay. This man is fucking sad. Okay then, OG. But yeah, man. Can y'all hear me? It said something. Oh, you put the hood on. I thought you was gonna put the hood.
What?
Shit.
What did you say?
Did it freeze up again? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it froze up. I can hear you now.
I know. No, I thought you was gonna put your hood on. I was gonna put my hood on.
Well, I can't hear you. I do like sound. I do sound design and shit. Do you fuck with your? I'm sorry. Do you fuck with your sound any, or do you just like?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't know how to do none of that shit.
Yeah, that's. You
said so. Like you saying like EQ and balance and all that shit.
Oh fuck yeah. I mean, that's what I'm going to school for now. Is like I'm good with Logic, Ableton, Pro Tools. That's what I use mostly. But I'm also really good with like Adobe and shit. So like that's what got me interested in all this stuff. I was a cowboy until like 3 years ago. You know, I came back here because my brother said he had a job. He was lying to me. So like I had to find something, and I went to school originally for creative writing. Like my degree is in creative writing and journalism. And so I was just going to write, but like I was just stuck. I was lost. Like I didn't have anything to do. I was like just going to like strip clubs and doing a shitload of blow. Like I was in a cocoon, I called it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like I was just lost all purpose. I uprooted myself. My dog got hit when I moved back here. It was just.
I'm listening.
Oh, well, and then so like I started telling my stories, and I started like recording that and then mixing them to sound and shit, and like fuck all that. And nothing. I felt like I was being.
No, I put you on the big screen because I thought you was about to. The camera
What?
No, I put you on the big screen because you was talking, and then you just turned the fucking camera off. Oh, shit. But no, I'm listening.
I don't trust people, bro. If I can see you, we good. But that's why I was like, man, because if I was the only one on the screen, I would feel weird. So like, I was like, damn, I need to show my screen.
Man,
No, I'm not. You have to hold your head in for a while.
It froze up again. But now I had to let you have the big screen because you was fucking talking. You gonna turn the damn camera off.
Well, so I came. Oh shit. So I came back and I was like, got really into all this sound design and like telling my story. And because when I was originally in college for like in 2012, I was there for creative writing because I just like to tell stories that it's like Americana with a coming of age, kind of twist on it. That's what I really like to do. And it has a purpose. It has personal attachment. So it's, I feel like the idea of heaven is because we can't accept that we're not going to live forever. So what is the idea behind that really, other than our thoughts are going to survive and be.
I mean, I think everyone has a fear of dying, like actual dying and disappearing forever. But like I'm not like, if this is all there is, then cool. I'm just trying to do the best I can with this shit. That's all I'm trying to do. Maybe
it's a scary thing to fucking consider. Like it's a scary thing to think about. What happens after we die?
Yeah, because I don't want to die. I like this living shit. This shit kind of cool, man.
Yeah, I prefer it.
Should I prefer it too? I don't want to disappear and perish, and they bury me and put me in a fucking box, and I turn into dust again and shit. I don't want that. I would rather live forever, but
yeah, I wasn't pausing because I was nervous. I was holding in a hit of DMT.
Oh, well, yeah, man. I mean, I guess, I don't know. Religion is like, when I look. The reason why I do this is like, there are people who can't do this shit.
Yeah,
they can't. Like, people have died, came up missing for saying the shit that I say, and so when I think about it, I'm like, man,
you threaten ideology.
Yeah. I mean, I got a chance to do what other people dream of doing, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna do this shit. I'm gonna do this shit. I'm gonna be hard on it, and I'm gonna blaspheme. I'm gonna be disrespectful, and I'm gonna say what I gotta say. I'm not putting no filter on this shit. I'm never gonna do that. It's gonna come out. I mean, I don't even. When I first started doing this shit, like, it just came. I just let it come out of my mouth. I just blah, whatever the fuck come out. I'm learning. I'm doing research and getting better and articulating my words more professionally and all that shit. But I'm still gonna be, it's gonna be exactly like this. Just come out.
You want more people to hear your perspective. You want more people to understand that. So you craft the way that you say things. You craft the way you present yourself. You understand feedback. You You understand failure. You want people to hear that. The easiest way to do is to ridicule them, but that doesn't get anywhere. That doesn't change their mind. That doesn't that just makes them look stupid, and they go back to their cult, and it reinforces the fact that they're, how evil you are, and they're going to get the great reward in the end of watching you burn in hell. So fuck it.
Yeah. And then like another thing, what you're saying is like they are okay with not knowing and not having to know, not wanting to know. They don't want to know shit. They literally say,
look at everything you have to ignore about what you're saying to accept that you're different and you're the golden one. You're the most acceptable. You're the preferred one. Okay. Like that doesn't go deep into our psychology of, like reproductive selection. Then I don't know what else does.
I'm trying to, okay, like I don't think I will ever this is what I like to do. I don't really like to debate. I more so like to let them explain it to me. Like,
yeah, I get it. And then you're like, look at how stupid this fucking idea is. That's easy. Like you have to ask the pastor about that. He knows better.
Okay, it's relevant on my side again, but
if it's that fucking complicated, then like it's not. I think it's not a if you need, I don't know, it's just knotted up in psychology of people just not accepting their insignificance.
It's like I just like I will give them the floor and let them explain it to me, but I'll ask them, hey, like, what do you think about this? And I'll let them explain it to me. I don't really debate, I mean,
yeah, I don't know why I'm lying to myself, but I'm being told to lie to myself, so that's cool. Like you're gonna have to take that up with somebody, with the person that's lying to me.
I mean, if there is a religious person who says, look, I want.
Man, why is it in God's plan that he keeps cutting out like that? That's rough, man. That's gonna teach me such a lesson.
It keep fucking freezing up. I don't know why. It keeps freezing. Shit.
But to just like prove my point, I'm tripping hard as fuck on DMT right now. How am I able to have a conversation with you? God damn it, get better Wi-Fi. Are you in North Korea? Fuck. It's worse than being interrupted.